YouTube? Welcome back to We Hail the Washington Commanders, Washington Redskins fan page, where we talk about, debate, discuss, agree, disagree, whatever, about the Washington Commanders and how their season's going to go. Today will be a schedule prediction for the Washington Commanders. Before we get started, though, please like, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. Twitter, it's Commander J Plank. And let's dive into this. So, Washington, I want to predict their season. I want to get some definite things about the team real quick before I get into that. I think this team's going to have a solid year. It's a solid freaking year we're going to have. The reason why I think we're going to have a solid year is because a lot of changes were made to the offense. Last year, the offense was like 32nd in the league. Even with that, we got like 3,200 passing yards. Quarterback got like 24 or 22 touchdowns, something like that, 15 interceptions. So quarterback play wasn't great, but I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but it wasn't great at all. So that's like bottom of the barrel for the league, and we still won 8 games. Okay, now what have we improved on? One, Scott Turner's a god-awful offensive coordinator, and Washington got rid of him and got a real offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy, if we just kept everything the same, I think he's a force multiplier of 2 wins. Okay, if we had Taylor Heinicke and we had Carson Wentz, I think we would win 2 more games with Eric Bieniemy, because Eric Bieniemy would compensate for a lot of the deficiencies. So if we have a quarterback that needs to get the ball out quick, and or the offensive line's not blocking, and we can't do 7-step drops, he would modify his play calling to fit that, or he'd modify his play action game to fit that, whatever case may be. He would do things to compensate for what we're lacking in. And I think that Scott Turner never did that. I don't feel at all he ever did that. Maybe once in a while he might do it, but I think he's just stubborn and wanting to run his trick plays and look cool and wants to get a coaching job someday. I think that's all he ever wanted. He doesn't know about momentum. He doesn't know how to set things up. He doesn't know how to you run a play that's a run play, and then you have like a play action off of that. Then you have a counter off of that. And then you have like a revert. You have all these things that build off of plays. And he doesn't understand how you set up a defense to, instead of just playing it straight up, you start looking in the backfield like, oh, I see this formation, I'm going to run it. Oh, no, I got burnt because, it's a play action. Whatever. Tons of things you can do to mitigate some crappy stuff. Not to mention, we never put Taylor Heinicke in RPOs. We never had Taylor Heinicke rolling out. He would have done better in those things. There's a lot of things that they've done with Sam Howell they would have done with Taylor Heinicke. And I don't think Taylor Heinicke would have been world beater or anything. But he would have been better, and I think Carson Wentz would have benefited as well. Carson Wentz, even though he's like a statue in the pocket, if they would have just had like catch and throw kind of plays, or catch and hot routes, whatever, you'd have had a lot more success out of Carson Wentz. Maybe not a lot of success, but more success than what he had. So, also, we're starting Sam Howell. That's a big difference. I think Sam Howell is a combination of the 2 quarterbacks had last year. Has the arm of Carson Wentz. And Taylor Heinicke actually showed he doesn't have a bad arm. He just doesn't have a lot of velocity. Okay, he can get the ball down there. He just doesn't go down. He has to really heave it. Okay, but Taylor Heinicke had mobility. He had a running ability. And he had that gamer mentality that he's there for the moment. He's not afraid of it. He just wants to play football, and he's a good football player. He may not be the greatest quarterback, but Taylor Heinicke is a solid football player. That's the way I can put it. Whereas Carson Wentz had the arm forever, but had no accuracy, and he used to have a lot of mobility, but he doesn't have any more mobility. Sam Howell's a combination of both those things: calm, cool, collect. Has a powerful arm, has an accurate arm, and he also can run with the football if he needs to. So he's going to add dynamic to our offense that wasn't exploited last year with Scott Turner. That part's going to be exploited with Eric Bieniemy calling the plays. And then you got the offensive line I wouldn't say it's rebuilt, but it's retooled, and it seems to be a more cohesive unit this year. We went out and got Nick Gates. Nick Gates seems to be a very good center to replace Roulier, and I don't think the center was the problem last year. I think your problem was more or less your defensive end, your ends, but with bad not communicating and all those things, it led to bad offensive line play, which led to a lot of other things. But I think this year it's fixed, and I just think better play calling will hide the deficiencies of the offensive line. So those things are drastically different. You still have the same weapons as last year. You still have Deshaun Dotson. You still have Terry McLaurin. You still have Curtis Samuel. We do have Cole Turner healthy this year. Now, Logan Thomas, they say Logan Thomas, if it's a game, he'll play, but he's been precautionary with him in preseason. But I'm going to believe him. And we also have John Bates. John Bates isn't the greatest tight end, but he's a good blocker. He'll get opportunities just because he's on the field a lot. So we have 3 solid tight ends that I'm okay with. And then our defense, we have Chase Young back. We have Darian Mathis is technically, I guess, injured, but Ridgeway seemed to be a very viable replacement for Mathis. So we get Mathis back after, I think he's on the pup, I think he's gonna be out 4 weeks, that temporary IR or something like that. He's back, and he'll be back by some point in the season, and then we'll have our full array of offense or defensive linemen. But our defensive line is probably the best in the league when it comes to the starters, the backups. Probably one of the best in the league by far. Linebacking core, I'm not too worried about. Jamin Davis is solid. Cody Barton is solid. So you got 2 there, and you got Kuechly, not Kuechly. I'm sorry, Khaleke Hudson. There we go. And he'll contribute on the defense as a linebacker, as a safety. Then when you get into our secondary, that's when the big changes made. So we have everyone back in the secondary. We have Cameron Curl, we have Derek Forrester, we have Jeremy Reeves is a solid, legitimate backup. We have Holmes, can't remember his name. Is it Christian Holmes? Yeah, Christian Holmes. Butler, you have that. Then you look at our corners. We added 2 corners in the draft this year with Forbes and Emmanuel and Martin. So our secondary is solid. I'm not concerned about our secondary very much. And we also have Fuller. We have Benjamin St. Juste. So we're solid there as well. We just have so much talent on the defense. The defense, if it's not top 5, if not the #1 defense in the league, I'll be very disappointed. But Jack Del Rio is consistency, and it's been in the 3 years he's been the defensive coordinator. 2 of them have been very good. The 1 year, this is why the one defensive lineman coach was fired, is because all the guys were doing is going as wide as possible and over pursuing. And it seems like they fixed that. So those things are going well. And then Ron's still there as the head coach. I think we have new ownership. There's a lot of momentum and a lot of feel goodness coming from the team. The players even said that. You have more fans at practices. So I think there's just a lot of good things. Plus a sellout week 1. And with that, I'm going to segue into talking about the games. I'm going to try to do very quick because I don't want this to take a half an hour just to explain 17 games. I think Washington will win week 1 pretty handily. I think Arizona does not have a quarterback that I would consider legitimate. It's just I think they're trying to tank, if I'm being honest. The defense is solid, but their offensive weapons really aren't that great. Their offensive line is okay. Their quarterback sucks. And their defense is okay, but I think Washington will win this. I think a lot of teams are sleeping on Washington's offense, and I think our offense will do pretty good, and it'll do enough that it'll do pretty good to the point where Washington will win this game pretty handily. It's gonna be 28-3 or 31-10 or something like that. They might score a touchdown late and make it look like it was kind of competitive when it wasn't. But I think Washington dominates this game, and they dominate in good fashion. Okay, week 2, we go to Denver and play the Denver Broncos. I don't think the Denver Broncos is going to be as good as people think they are. Everyone keeps talking about maybe Russell Wilson's back to form. Maybe, and I kind of hope he is to a degree because he's one of my fantasy quarterbacks. I really didn't have much of a choice, but he's the best one available, and I had to take him. So I kind of hope he's okay, but not against Washington. I don't want him to be good against Washington. The problem that is going on right now is apparently him and Sean Payton are butting heads, man. They're not communicating really well. They're not getting along. They're not on the same page with a lot of things. So I don't know if there's going to be a situation where, there's a little bit of controversy going on in Denver. And the team was bad last year. There was really no bright parts about the team last year. It wasn't very good. And Sean Payton's a good coach, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to fix this team. But I think Washington does get a win in week 2. I think they go in there and get the win. It's going to be a tough win because it is in Mile High, but they're going to get the win nonetheless. It's good to play this game early, not late. So, and then we go against Buffalo. So there's some games I'm confident we're going to win. I'd put money on Denver. I'd put money on Arizona. I wouldn't put money on Buffalo. Buffalo, as much as I would like to say Buffalo is going to We can go in. We can compete. I think we could win. There's a chance of us winning. I can see how it can be done. But do I think we win? If I had to bet money right now, I don't think we're winning against Buffalo. I think Buffalo will beat us, and we'll hang in there. Do not get me wrong, but we will. I think we will lose to Buffalo. Okay. Moving on to the Eagles now. I think we're going to split with the Eagles, so I think they're going to win this game. I think we'll be competitive. I think we have the. I think we're one of the few teams that kind of has the talent to beat them at their own game. There's a lot of things going on with the Eagles that I don't think are going to be lead. Like everyone's like they're a Super Bowl contender. I don't think they are. I think they're going to win the division. I think that's definitely a possibility, and I'll go more elaborate on that tomorrow when I do my division prediction video. But I think they're good enough to win the division. I think they're good enough to win a playoff game or two. I don't think they're getting back to the Super Bowl. I think they may get to the NFC Championship game. That's possible. But I don't think they're getting back to the Super Bowl. You cannot lose your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator and a lot of talent. And yeah, you might have replaced with some players, but it took time for that stuff to gel. And then you had to blow it up. You had to pay Jalen Hurts. To pay with Jalen Hurts, you can't pay some of the guys that were reasons why you got to the Super Bowl. I just don't think it's going to happen. Okay, and as a Super Bowl contending team last year, Washington beat them. Okay, and I think we're better than we were last year. I think they're maybe on par, if not, they're a little bit less than they were last year. I don't remember the coach's name off the top of my head. Not Kevin Stefanski or whatever his name is. I don't remember his name. But whenever he called plays a couple years ago, they passed a lot, and that's not going to be beneficial to Jalen Hurts. Whenever they got their offensive coordinator, which I can't remember his name, I know he's gone to another team and coaching now. But whenever they put him in and started calling plays, then the offense started lighting up. Okay, the offense started getting a lot better. So that's a factor. I think it's a factor that I got to consider. But I think we'll split. I think we will split with them, and our wins outside of the division are going to be what decides this. I think both of us are going to do well against the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants. But so I think we lose against the Eagles. So week 4, going out of week 4, we're 2-2. Okay, 50-50 team. Now this is where I think Washington gets a big stretch. Ron Rivera has consistency, where he gets parts of the season where he gets consistently a handful of wins, and then I think this year's going to be different with what happens after that. So we are going to go against Chicago. Chicago is significantly better than they were last year, but we are way better too, and we won a game against them, and it was the most dumbest game ever. It was coming off of a game. We played the Bears on Thursday night. It wasn't a very good game. We didn't play well. Carson Wentz stunk it up. But our defense did just good enough to win. We literally won by an inch. It was an inch away from them getting a touchdown and beating us. So, but we barely won last year, and I think we're not going to barely win this year, though. Better offense, better defense. I think Justin Fields is better than he was last year. I'll give him that credit. And I think they've added some weapons for him. But I don't think it's going to be enough. They have a long way to go, but I do like Justin Fields. I think he's going to do well this year. But I think Washington gets the win here. So now we're 3-2. Atlanta has probably one of the best, probably second best running game in the league behind the Eagles. I think they got a very good running back. They got very good depth at running back. The problem I have is if you can negate the running game, which I think Washington's defense is built to do, if we can just do it this year. If we negate the running game, I think it's going to force Desmond Ridder to beat us, and that's going to be their fatal flaw. So I think that's going to be our benefit. I think Washington's defense can slow down the running game and force the quarterback to beat us, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think Washington gets the win here. So going out of week 6, that is a 4-2 team. Giants, I think Giants are due for some reckoning. We should have beat them twice last year. We were 8-1 with 1 tie to them and 1 loss to them. We were a 10-win team. We should not have lost the Giants last year. I don't care what anyone says, we should not have lost. We are better than them in every facet of the game, except for quarterback last year, but I think quarterback's better this year. Sam Howell, I think, is better than Daniel Jones. Okay? And I think Washington comes in here and goes to New York, beats the Giants on back-to-back road games, and now they're 5-2, and now everything's just humming. So we're going to be 5-2. I think the Eagles are going to have a decent record. So going into week 8, we're looking at week 8 as a benchmark for we're going to keep this momentum going. We're going to have to lose and start over. And I think Washington is going to win this game. They're going to win a home game against the Eagles. And at that point, we're 6-2. National media is popping off about Washington, starting to talk good stuff about them. Okay? And then we're going against Bill Belichick's Patriots. Now, Bill Belichick historically does well against rookie quarterbacks. But Sam Howell's not technically a rookie, and his defense can be good and slow us down for sure. But I don't think his offense is going to do anything against our defense. So I think Washington gets the win against the Patriots. So that's putting us at a 7-2 team right there. Now the next game, I think Seahawks will beat us. I think we got to go all the way. We have a lot of road games back to back. Got to go all the way to Seattle. It's the farthest game we can possibly play. And we got to go to Seattle. And I think we'll be competitive. And I actually think Seattle's going to be a very good team this year. So it's not me saying like BSing and thinking Seattle's going to do anything crazy. But I think we will go there. It will be a competitive game. I think we can win this. Any game we've lost up to this point, I think it's winnable. But I think we get the loss to Seahawks right here. Our momentum, our winning streak kind of comes to a halt right there. But then we're going to pick it back up here in the next couple games. So I think we will lose to the Seahawks. That puts us at 9-3. Okay. I'm sorry, 7-3. I'm sorry, not 9-3. 7-3. That puts us at 7-3. Then we have the New York Giants. Week 11. I think we're going to beat them again. I think it's at home. I think we really put the stomping on the Giants. At this point in the season, you don't know if I just don't think they have enough weapons to make Daniel Jones effective, and you can't only rely on the running back to do that for you. I think the defensive line's good, but I just think we're a better team. I think we're a better team, better offensive. Just so many things are better than it was last year. I think it's going to lead to some wins. I don't know. Maybe their coach, I think, is Brian. I don't know his name. Brian Gable, maybe. I don't know. I think it's going to be a better team than they were last year. But I just think Washington's going to have their number. We have some reckoning to give to that damn team. Okay, I'm furious with that team. I hate that team. Okay, so now we get back in the winning category. So now we're at 8-3 going into week 12. We face the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys. I think Dallas Cowboys are headed for a very, 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 very bad season. They are going to regress so bad. First off, you fired your offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, probably one of the better offensive coordinators in the league. Kellen Moore is what made Dak Prescott good. Okay? And I'm going to say this, and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, you're talking about Dak Prescott is a decent quarterback. He's a decent quarterback. He's not top 10. He's not one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's a decent quarterback. He always has good talent. He's always had a solid running game when he started there. He's always had solid running backs. He's not going to have that this year. Tony Pollard is a good third down, mix it up kind of back, but he is not a every down back and volume running back. He's coming off a broken leg, and that's what you're relying on to run the game. And Mike McCarthy said he wants to run the ball more. I don't think it's going to equal up to a lot of good. It's not going to equal up to anything good. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second, like I said, he's coming off an injury, so you're one Tony Pollard injury away from not having a running back. Okay, you're going to put a lot on Dak Prescott's shoulders. Okay, everything's going to fall on him, and I just don't think he's going to be prepared to do all that by himself. Not to mention you got CeeDee Lamb as one of your receivers. He's pretty good, but you're one injury away from not having a receiving core. He's your best receiver, and then the next one after that's like what, Gallup. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see the Dallas Cowboys being good other than their defense. I think the defense is going to be pretty solid because of their coach. Okay, their coach is, what's his name? Dan Quinn. I actually foresee this team potentially being at the point where they're going to fire their head coach before the season ends. And Dan Quinn will be elevated to head coach. I see that this being that bad of a season for the Dallas Cowboys. I may be way wrong, but Kellen Moore is a good offensive coordinator. I don't know why they got rid of him. It's the stupidest thing ever, but I think Washington wins here, so we get two back-to-back. We get back-to-back victories in our division. Then we go to Miami. I think Miami, good offense, decent defense. It's at home, so we could win this. But for the sake of just having some pretty good balance in this, I'm going to say Washington loses this one. So this puts us at 9-4. Now, Rams come out. We beat the Rams. Okay? There's so much in shambles with this. Quarterback, question mark about how healthy he's going to be. That's one thing. You have the defense has like no one on except Aaron Donald. So that's a thing as well. The Rams are well coached, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to beat Washington. Washington's going to be at a point where they're going to want to get some revenge after losing to the Miami Dolphins at home. It is a travel game, so we have to go pretty far to do it. However, I do think Washington will get this win, and that'll be putting us at, what are we at there? We were at 12-3 after 12-4. I'm sorry, what am I saying 12-4? Week 13, we were at 9-4 after the Dolphins. I think we beat the Rams. Okay, so that puts us at 10-4. And now we have 3 games left. Now we could lose all 3 of these, but I don't think we're going to. I think Washington will. I think the Jets is a kind of a coin flip. I don't know what they are. There's a huge anomaly around this team right now for what they are and what they can do to you offensively and defensively. Just don't know how good they're going to be. For all we know, it implodes because Aaron Rodgers can't mesh with his teammates. But I'm going to put this as a coin flip, and I think we're going to win this game. That puts us at 11 wins and 4 losses. Now, 49ers, they're going to be in midseason form. They're well coached. They're one of the best offenses. I think we do lose this game. So we're going to lose this game, and that puts us at 11-5. And I think we beat Dallas Cowboys the last week of the season and put us at 12-5. I think that's what Washington can do. Obviously, there's some games here that I think could go the other way. I think we could lose to the Jets pretty easily. I think we could lose the Eagles twice. That's possible. So I think a minimum we're like a 10 or 11 win team, but I think we can go as high as 12 or 13 because there's nothing on this schedule that I look at like, oh yeah, we can't beat that. We can't score on that team, or we can't defend this team. There's nothing like that. So I think that's the schedule. I think Washington ends up being about 12-5, 11-6. So we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. You think that's too ambitious? Do you think I don't have us having enough wins? Do you think you're going to be like the national pundits think we're going to be like one of the worst teams ever, and we might only win like four games total? What do you think in the comment section down below? Let me know. Thank you for watching this video. We hail to the Redskins. We hail to the Commanders. Have a good one, and see you.